G'day folks, welcome to this opening of Scenario 6 from Atlantic War. This is part of the GOSS series. This is my first foray into Atlantic War, and I'm jumping straight into a fairly large scenario. Scenario 6 starts on the 6th of June, and it covers both the Airborne module, the Naval Invasion module, and it runs for about 6 days. And I'm going to see how far I can get. There are a number of smaller introductory and intermediate scenarios, but I really want to get sort of the full experience. I've played a lot of smaller scenarios from Vaktum Rhine, so I felt maybe it was time to jump in. And I want to show you how the Airborne module works. But firstly, a huge shout out to LBW Strategy Gaming. Steve has some amazing videos. He has gone through his airborne invasion phases very carefully, and I've been watching those, and that has inspired me to jump into this. I've been watching I've watched them before, and I've been watching them again, a series of videos over the last 24 hours, and it's really what it's done is it's got me punching out my counters, and then I couldn't wait, so I've jumped onto the Vassal module, and here we are. So this is the Atlantic War D-Day to Falaise Vassal mod. You can pick this up, I believe, on the Decision Games website. You basically go to purchase it and it's free. And this is the setup for Scenario 6. So if I zoom in, you can see all the beaches down here. Here's Utah Beach, scrolling around to Omaha Beach, and then Gold, Juno, and Sword. You then have the beach. No, that's the overall map. These are the beach overlays, which look amazing. Now, I still don't know fully how these work yet. I'll get to that in a moment. Before I even get to that amphibious invasion module, I am dealing with the airborne invasion module, and it's really fascinating, and I've been really enjoying it. I've just finished the airborne drop segment, so I've done all of these. I'm going to run you through now what has happened. All right, I'll return to this sheet in a moment, but to kick things off, we grab the glider Pegasus bridge, this unit here, and we place them. Oops, ignore that. That was me playing around with labels. We place them right there on the Orne River, Orne Canal, and we have to make 2 die rolls to see if they succeed. The first one was a 3, so I think this was the Orne Canal bridge is secure, and the second one, that was a bridge, sorry, and then the second one was a 3, which meant the Orne Canal was captured. So no worries there. The initial landing of these gliders was fine. Then we get to drop zone placement. Okay, so we've done the special Pegasus Bridge mission. Then we go to drop zone placement segment. And this starts off pretty straightforward. I'll skip you through. I'll move through some of these very quickly. What I do here is take the drop zones from the airborne display, fairly straightforward. They all have their little location hex, and simply place them on the map. So I start with the 6th Airborne, place their drop zones, then move over to the 82nd Airborne, place their drop zones, and then the 101st place their drop zones. Okay, once the drop zones are placed in their hex, we roll for scatter. And the important thing to keep in mind here is that the maximum scatter, I think I mentioned this in just a moment, is 1 hex. So we start with drop zone K, then drop zone N, and I don't think we should be drop zone K, drop zone N. If I wind back a bit, were they moving? I should. Where are my preferences? How do I zoom to? Because I don't do this very often, so I want to zoom to where I'm moving these units. But these are weird because they're kind of a special type of unit. Anyway, so going through these drop zones. No scatter, no scatter. The 6th Airborne landed exactly where I wanted them. 82nd, scrolling around to here. So the 82nd are in this vicinity. And drop zone T, scattered south. Okay, so the way this works is you roll on the scatter table. What we got here was a 9, so they scattered 2 for the 82nd. Then you roll here to see where they scatter. And the maximum scatter for the drop zone is 1. So we're just really looking at this first circle here. This is S1, then S2. Based on how far they scatter, you then roll 2 dice. So I rolled a 63 here. I look to find 63 around here, and you can see it's in this range from 49 to 64. So I just move that drop zone 1 hex south. I'll show you another example. This is the headquarters, so it will not scatter. Drop zone N, okay, so drop zone N, it's the 82nd, 82nd, I roll a 4, so it's an S2 result, and then I roll 2 dice, a 15, maximum of 1, so you ignore the S2, you record this, and then roll of 15 means they should just scatter 1 hex north. Right, so they've got both stacked together there. So I'll run through these pretty quickly. Drop zone O, scattered 1 hex northeast. Then we get the 101st. Drop zone A, which is up in the north here. It scattered northeast towards the beaches. Drop zone C, southwest. Drop zone D, northeast. So we had a nice line of 101st Division drop zones along that area. Now, their status. Now I should have recorded their status immediately. You should drop the drop zones and then immediately do their status, but I was too excited to drop these drop zones, so I didn't. Basically, you roll for scatter for the drop zones, and then you roll to see what status they have. Fairly straightforward. You roll a die, you apply a couple of modifiers. If they're adjacent to a German unit, it's the most common one. They may be in woods. A few of them are in woods. So let's roll through this and see how we go. And this is important. You still roll for the headquarters. So although the headquarters don't scatter, you still roll for their status. Okay, so we'll head over to the 6th Airborne again, and we'll see how they go. This is just status. This is going to affect the other units coming in. So a 0 is no scatter. What am I doing here? Hold on. This is the headquarters. You still roll for them to determine their scatter, but they don't move. I was just catching up on that. Okay. Now status. 82nd Airborne. Okay, so I'm heading back to the 82nd. Here we are, 82nd. And they have no modifiers. Where's K? K. No, this isn't the 82nd. This is the 6th. So 6th Airborne. I don't know why I wrote 82nd there, but this is the 6th Airborne. There's no modifiers. They're not in the woods. They're not next to Germans. They roll an 8. Their status is C. Okay. So they were, I believe, no scatter. They rolled an 8, status C. All right, that's what we're looking at there. Give you another example. Drop zone N. Okay, so these guys are actually adjacent to the Germans, so they'll have a +1 modifier. They had a no scatter. A roll of 3. They should be A. Is that what I recorded? Yes, A. And that determines their status, which determines how likely it is that the units in that division or dropping on that drop zone will scatter. So we'll roll through these, and I did record all these. Okay, so here's my notepad, which is empty for some reason. I had been recording it in my save game. Hopefully I've saved everything, but everything's been dropped now anyway. I did write all these down. So this is just recording the status of these drop zones. Things were pretty good. I can't show you that saved file because it hasn't actually saved, which is kind of, I don't know why. But yeah, just recording all the status here, and I do record the list down. Now ignore all this because I made a mistake here. The way this works is you do this one drop zone at a time. So you get all the units for a drop zone. So here's drop zone K. You grab all these, the companies, you place them in the draw cup, and you determine a number of dummy counters by making a roll according to their status. So for example, and I'll get to the actual, I undo this in a moment. So I did make some mistakes. Was doing everything all at once. Yep, this is why I undo things. Put all the companies back. I won't worry about showing you through that. I'll just click through the log file. But in a moment, I'll show you what's happening. Okay, so drop zone K. All right, this is drop zone K down here, and these are the units that are planning to drop on drop zone K. So 3 companies go into the cup. I've got to sort them out first, flip them around and put them in the drop cup. Then I had already rolled for the dummy. So the way this works is you check what their status is. And I had this all written down. You roll, and the number in parentheses will tell you how many dummy counters you add. So I know that there's 1 dummy counter added for drop zone K. So I've got 3 companies, 1 dummy. Then you draw these one at a time, place them on the drop zone. You roll a D10 for scatter. Okay, so if this is, I don't know what drop zone K was. I think they were an maybe an A, no modifiers, an S3. All right, so it must be in C. So see here, row C, a 7 is an S3. Then I roll 2 dice, 34. All right, so if it's scatter 3, you look at S3. Well, it goes S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, where 6 is the number of hexes away that they're scattering. So if it's an S1, they're scattering 1 hex, S2, they're scattering 2 hexes, and so on, up to a maximum of, well, 6 if they remain on the map. They can also get an extended scatter where they're thrown way off course, and that's really bad. So in this case, it's an S3, so they're scattering 3 hexes away, and I rolled a 34. So we look for 34, and it is so 3 hexes down, right, and 1 hex up. So let's see if I've done this correctly. Yeah, 3 hexes down, 1 up. And my first scatter was a unit landing on top of the Germans. So immediately I had to kind of check all the combat rules, because this is a new new series of combat rules. The first we have to do is make a proficiency rating check for the Germans. And this is a reduced strength, a 1-step battalion. So it's not looking good to start things off. They pass their proficiency rating check. The attackers, these companies, have an attack strength of 1. Then they add half their proficiency rating, which is 6. So it kind of takes me a while to work this out, but I get eventually to a result of 4 to 11. The defender has +2 because they're in a forest, makes it 4 to 13. And then you basically roll, if I understand this correctly, I hope I understand it correctly because I've been doing it the whole process like this. You roll a die for each, add that to their result, and this is an overwhelming German victory. The company then must retreat and lose 1 step. They're only a 1-step unit, so they are eliminated. Fortunately, that didn't happen too often. Okay. So if I skip through, again, I rolled, this is a no scatter, so they end up right on the drop zone. Next company, 5 is scatter 2, 79, we'll put them towards the left there, like so. And again, all throughout this is taking me a long time to actually work through, which is why I'm not doing it live, but a 79, S2 is in this range from 73 to 80. So it's basically 2 to the left, and that's exactly where they ended up. So I'm going to flick through the rest of this very quickly. If you want to go learn about this in detail, you can check out Steve's videos on LBW Strategy Gaming. And again, I will link that in the description below. But here is how things went. I'm going to flick through this very quickly for the 6th Airborne. Because they had pretty good ratings of, what are they, A, B, or C? Oh, here they are. They suddenly turned up. Good. Okay, so the 6th Airborne had A, B, and C. So drop zone V, where I had 2 battalions landing was very good. And you'll see that this is drop zone V here, and you can see how most of those units landing, most of those companies are landing right on the mark. Drop zone, what's this one? This is drop zone N. It was a B. It's, I think, drop zone N, B, yeah. It wasn't too bad. I did get some bad rolls, but I had some more combat and succeeded. Forced the Germans away. They failed their PR, which was great. And landing around that area. Got pretty lucky for the most part. Fair bit of scatter, but not too far. Some of them even landing northwest near Benneville, across the Orne Canal and River. Okay. And another unit landing on the Germans. They failed their proficiency rating and had to retreat. Okay. Took me a while here, but they were an in-battery artillery, so they're actually eliminated. So just by landing on this in-battery artillery, I'm forcing them to run away. Okay. I think I had one more to go. Yep. Now we get to the 82nd Division, and what I'm doing here is taking the 82nd Division companies. I'll show you. So here's the 82nd drop zones. We start with O, then T, then N. And I can tell you here, O had a status of C, T had a status of B, which is very good. N had a status of E. That was a worse result. So you'll see what happens here in just a moment. So I'll show you this this display as I get them up. So O is right in the middle here. I take the companies. By this stage, I've learnt to do it one drop zone at a time. So I roll for the dummy counters. Now again, looking at this chart, a 667 on C is a 6-1, 6-1, and a 7-2 in parentheses for a total of 4 in parentheses, which gives me a total of 4 dummy counters. So they get added to the draw cup. Then I just I draw these from the draw cup one at a time. And I'll show you how that goes. So I'll move the game pretty quickly. Okay, so these guys all had a +1 modifier because of the Germans there. And that caused them to scatter a little bit more than expected. Okay, we forced another German unit to eliminate. That was some artillery that was in battery. So that was another good coup. These guys are scattering. Now this was, I think I start to run into some trouble around about here. I start landing in the marsh along the Murray River. And when you land into a marsh, you have to make another dice roll. On a 0, you're safe. On a 6+, you can run into some danger. So here we go, a 7, which means they go on the ES track. And you roll to see where they go on the ES track. The ES track is the extended scatter track down the bottom here. But if you roll a 0, they're instantly eliminated. They're gone. So that happened a couple of times, which is really frustrating. All right, so rolling for the rest of... Yep, you can see there's another one gone. I'll move this out of the way so we can see the map. Get rid of that. And you can see this, what should have been a fairly tight drop, ended up, quite scattered. All right. Now I think am I at... Yeah, drop zone T now. Drop zone T is here. T is the one. Drop zone T has a B rating. So you'd expect most of these to kind of land right on. And that's pretty much how it worked out. A little bit of scatter here and there, but nothing too much. Okay, now drop zone N, which is in the same location. But drop zone N, so you can see where T has landed really close. Drop zone N, though, with its E rating, so compare the pair. Drop zone T, B rating, they're all landing here. Now watch where N goes. 4 dummy counters. I fly through this pretty quick. All right, get ready. Here we go. 6 Hesses away. It's an S6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. He's flying. These guys are going way up, I know. A 5. They go up northeast, which isn't too bad, but they're in the marsh. So they're eliminated. So they roll a 6 for being in the marsh, which puts them on the extended scatter track. Then they roll a 0, which eliminates them. All right, so things aren't going well for this drop zone. That's not bad. These guys go all the way out there. They're going to have trouble. These guys go all the way out to the east, which isn't too bad. Southeast in the marsh, safe. All the way down southeast, halfway to Carentan from there. In the marsh as well, safe. Up north, that's not so bad. Another one way out west. Another one west a little bit. All right, this one has to fight for their life. Proficiency rating check. The Germans passed. So again, 1 plus my proficiency rating versus the German defense plus half of their proficiency rating. And then we make some die rolls. And I rolled well here, which caused a tie, but then I remembered they're in the marsh, so the defenders get a +1, which is a difference of 1, so I have to retreat. Actually, do I have to retreat? And I think it's retreat. No, it's not retreat and step loss, it's just retreat. If it's greater than, but not, yeah. I hope. All right, so flicking through these quite quickly. Now we're up to the 101st Division, so drop zone D. So we've got 101st here, we've got D, C, and then, where are you? They're up here somewhere. Here it is. Oh, no. DC, where is it? Further up, right? Oh, there, A. All right, so we start with D. They're on the B. B status, so they shouldn't drop too much. 3 dummy counters are added. And again, you don't know. So to explain these dummy counters, roughly 3/4 of these counters will be my actual companies. 1/4 will be dummy counters. And I don't know. Nobody knows what they are. Right, so you can see not a lot of scatter, a lot of them landing right on. Unit on the extended scatter track rolled a 1, so it gets placed on the 1 box on the extended scatter track. Look at that, right, pinpoint accuracy on that drop zone for a lot of them. Now we get to drop zone A in the north, okay. They were status B, 3 dummy counters. Let's see how they go. A little bit of scatter. They land up in the northeast. Germans fail a proficiency rating check again. They have to retreat. They were in a trench. I wasn't sure about that, but yeah, it doesn't say anything about the ET2 saving them in any way. Scattering in the marsh, scattering towards the beaches. This is now scatter onto this Widerstand nest. And units in a Widerstand nest don't make a proficiency rating check. Yep, so we don't do anything about that. We have to fight. It didn't go well. 1 versus half my proficiency rating versus their 10. Right, so this is a very strong Widerstands nest, which yeah, was not a good place to land. A couple of good landings around here, getting a good stack on that drop zone, and now drop zone C in the south, the last one for the 101st Airborne. And they had a level C, so we might expect a little bit of scatter here. Another battle. The Germans failed their PR check, so they have to retreat. But they were infantry, so they could afford to do so. They're not in battery artillery. You can see a little bit of scatter there. Nothing too bad. It's good to have some scatter down towards the south. Well, look, the main thing is not too far away. Couple in the marsh, and that's it. So, I'll start a new log file. No, I don't want to replace that. Sorry. Okay, so this is where we've landed, and I don't know what's under there. The next step is for Allied movement segment and then glider landing. Gliders will, I believe, be much more accurate. I think they get a -3 dice roll modifier to glider units landing, right? So they should be far more accurate. Looking at this though, I'm pretty happy. I only had the one, and again, most importantly, looking over the sort of the status table. CBA for 6 Airborne, that was very good. So they all landed really close. Only drop zone N. Drop zone N's the only thing higher. It was the only drop zone higher than a C status. Okay, which means that I had to use this for drop zone N. So you can see it ranges from scatter 1 up to automatically on the extended scatter table. A lot of the rolls were in this range, but most of the drop zones were in this range. So we're looking at scatter 1, scatter 2, which is pretty good for the 101st, for example. All of the 101st, their drop zones were all Bs and Cs, which means the furthest they're going is, I think, if I'm rolling on C, if I roll a maximum of 9, I'm 4 away, but that didn't happen very often. Most of the time I was 1, 2, or 3 away. As a result, you can see 101st, you can throw a blanket over them. That's where we are. That's, I think, really good news for the Airborne. 82nd might have a bit of trouble with these. Hopefully these are the dummy units. It'd be great if that's a dummy unit, if they're dummy units. We don't know, I don't know. It'd be nice if that's a dummy unit, because they're going to struggle to get anywhere. There's a bridge up here, I guess. But yeah, it'd be good if they're dummy units. The rest of them are really well consolidated. I'm in a good position here to clear out this artillery. I don't know how tough that's going to be, but gee, it'd be nice to be able to clear that out so that when the landings on the beach come in, we can drive straight along here. Well placed with the 101st to do something similar in this vicinity as well. And the 82nd, they've got those bridges over the Minaret River. I don't think it'll take them long. So folks, yeah, that's a quick summary. Oh, I should have pointed out the 6th Airborne as well. So here they are, as expected, quite tight. The one unit that scattered, where did it end up? It was down here and it died, so everyone else was pretty close together. I've already got 2. It'd be nice if they were actually, well, look, we'll see what happens. Basically, I have to bring these units together to consolidate them, to reform the battalions that are sitting ready to be built up. So basically all these little companies are under those tokens, and if I can bring them together, I can start to form the larger, 8th para, 9th para, 1st Canadian para, etc. That's what I'm striving for. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I just realized I didn't land my American leaders, so I might do I'll find some random way to resolve that. You meant to land them with a parachute company, and I forgot. I left them behind in London, in England, wherever they were. Okay, folks, there you go. Look, and yeah, as I said, this is the first time I've ever gone through the Airborne landing phase. A lot of fun, really interesting. Did take me a lot of time, which is why I didn't do it live. I was checking the rules a lot, but yeah, hopefully this playthrough has helped you understand what happens when you're doing that Airborne playthrough. If I can just scroll across, you get a bigger picture of the situation. Yeah, that's it. They're all in that vicinity. So yeah, pretty happy with how that all worked out. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Take care.